what our system is picking up here. Now, this is a ways from the radar site. You see that radar beam coming from Columbus, Mississippi. It's actually going pretty high up into the sky. So it's registering somewhat off of the ground that you're seeing winds at 85 miles per hour. In fact, that's about 2,000 feet above the ground. So down at the surface, that could be registering winds at 65, 70 miles per hour. So we've got some dangerous winds within this storm, regardless of whether we end up seeing a confirmed tornado. But you can just see that rotation right here between Archer and Pickensville, right along Highway 86. And I'll go ahead and circle some of those first alert times or some of those areas that we're going to be seeing in the path of this. Stansel, Carlos, Carrollton, Lois Spring, Beards Mill, Reform, Bell. So this is headed east-northeast right now along Highway 86, but if you live anywhere along Highway 17, Highway 82, this should be just to the south of Coalfire, but in these areas in Pickens County, you need to get to your safe place as soon as possible. Remember, away from windows on that lowest level of your room. So we're turning now. I think we've got Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt ready to go. Wes, you just came in. This was something we've been keeping a close eye on. This is a very isolated tornado threat we're seeing this evening, but even with an isolated threat, you can still see situations like this happen and unfold.
That's right, Lauren. And with these storms moving in from Mississippi, we did expect this line to start to lessen in intensity. But where that happens, as these storms have first moved into West Alabama, still packing a little bit of strength here. And you can clearly tell that there's some circulation in this line. And coming off of last weekend, we had numerous tornadoes across the state that were confirmed. We could certainly have a tornado here that's impacting places like Archer. And as Lauren has mentioned, it looks like that circulation is now past Pickensville. So if you're watching me around Owens, the Olney area, anywhere between Reform and Carrollton, right there along that Highway 86 corridor, I want to make sure that you are in your tornado shelter right now. And what Lauren is doing is bringing up some of the debris detection. And this is one area where we did actually see some debris that was detected over into east central Mississippi. So this does have a history, this part of the storm producing some damage. We're actually live on Facebook for those of you that follow us on Facebook and our social media platforms, and we were tracking this storm through our digital platforms, and all of a sudden we did see the Weather Service pulled the tornado warning on this particular storm. So hopefully folks helping to spread the word in here to seek shelter. But again, the way this is moving, it's tracking across Pickens County. This does not include southern Lamar County. This is south of you. Tuscaloosa still to the west of us and just to the north of Sumter County at this time. And it looks like the track here is going to put this line very close to Reform as Lauren is tracking. This was moving. There we go, Lauren. We have a shear marker. This is a very strong indication of some damaging winds that we have with this storm right now. Is that from Columbus? Okay, so we're seeing from Columbus. So this is our system. I'm giving you the first alert right now. Possibility that we do have some damaging winds or a tornado right now along Highway 86. This is past Pickensville. And the way this is moving, that's going to be close to Stansel and the Bell area. So listen up. If you're in Bell, if you're in Fairview, I need you seeking shelter right now, going to the center of your home. And this is moving at 60 plus miles per hour. So you don't have much time to try to outrun this thing. Just get to the center of your home. Try to avoid being around windows and try to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And especially, you know, if you have a blanket, a pillow, a helmet, something to offer some extra protection, that's always great to have in your safety kit to just wait on this. And I promise you, this will pass very quickly. It's moving at 60 miles per hour, but some very strong indications that we do. The BTI is up to a 4.5, so we could have a tornado here. And this weather is changing fast. I mean, we're looking at temperatures right in this area warming up into the 60s. Behind this, temperatures dropping off into the 50s and 40s. So this is a very powerful system now as it moves into West Alabama. But strong indications here, if not a tornado over Pickens County, that we do have some damaging winds. And the way this is tracking, that's going to move across Carlos, Owens, and Stansel. And that's Highway 17, actually south of Reform. And Lauren, I believe I pulled our cameras up over there. If we want to check that Pickens County Airport camera that's right there at Reform, we can kind of get an idea of what the winds are like out there just by looking at a live view out the window there from the North Pickens County Airport. Again, we have a camera right here, First Alert Sky Vision, so we'll have an eye in the sky on this as this storm approaches. And that tornado actually, the way it's moving here, Look at that temperature up to 61 degrees. Keep in mind, we started out the day down in the freezing range. I mean, this weather, it is changing in a hurry here. So folks in Pickens County, now listen, if you're in Reform, Gordo, around McShann, Coal Fire Lake, all those areas, I want you in your safe place right now. We will let you know once this threat has passed, but get to your tornado shelter. And you can probably hearing those weather radios going off right now. That tornado warning is set to expire at 9:45. But you can see, it looks like, Lauren, the winds are picking up there on that camera view, but we have a live look there. We'll check back in. It looks like the circulation actually is now in this area, and we'll get another update on the data. This is some of the proprietary products from our First Alert AccuTrack system that will update, and very soon. This is where the circulation is located right now. If we can go in and circle this area right in here, Lauren, looks like we're seeing this almost passing just south of Beard's Mill, but we'll get an update on those tracks here momentarily. But you can see the latest First Alert Times does put this over Reform, and that is showing 9:09 on that time of arrival, moving east-northeast at 60 miles per hour. If we go in close to this, I mentioned some of the highways in here, Highway 17, Highway 86. I want to label some of these roads. That is Pine Grove Road. If you are at Pearson Road, that's where this is crossing, right around County Road 7, Pine Grove, Pearson Road. Here's the circulation right here, and that is going to be tracking towards Reform. That's the way it's moving right now. But all along this line, we do have some strong winds. And Lauren, that's something you noted a few moments ago. And our main concern, the gradient winds, gusty winds out ahead of this line.
Yeah, Wes, that is really something that we've got to be keeping a close eye on, that as this system comes in, one reason we are saying, okay, there's a very low severe threat, but it's not zero, is because there could be this little corridor of brief instability like we're seeing right now, that more unstable, juicy air that can help to fuel storms move into West Alabama. But there has been plenty of wind shear with the system. That's that difference in wind speed or direction as you go up in height in the atmosphere. And so when you have a lot of wind energy in the system, if you can tap into some of that instability, it's not going to take much to really cause a tornado to form. But even if you don't see a tornado warning in your area like you are in Pickens County tonight, as this system comes in, the winds are going to be whipping. We've already seen, as we mentioned, the low-level winds here on Red Mountain are already kicking up, but it's really intense winds that we're seeing associated with this tornado warning.
Yeah, and continue what you're saying there, Lauren. If we can go, can we double box? I just want to bring that camera up that we have right now in Reform. I mean, if we have a tornado here, we're going to see what some of those conditions are looking like there in the Reform area. In fact, Lauren, it looks like I was noticing the winds are really starting to pick up. Yes. And let me just go over to and just show you here. You can see, yeah, those winds are really picking up. We were losing the signal there a few moments ago. Again, this is a live look from Pickens County where we have a tornado warning now in effect. This is a very powerful system moving through the area. Rain really coming down here. We have a temperature of 61 degrees, and for folks in Reform, and if you are south along Highway 86, Highway 17, down to Carrollton, anywhere in between, you need to be in your safe place. This is passing fairly quickly, moving about 60 miles per hour, but this is a severe storm and a tornado warning we've had confirmed. The radar actually showing where we had damage detected by the radar over into east central Mississippi. So Lauren's been sending out a lot of updates tonight about this line, and you can see, actually, look at that, Lauren, the triple threat showing 70 mile per hour winds. Let's go in right into this area and let's zoom in. We mentioned Pine Grove Road. If you're along Pine Grove Road, there it is once again. We likely have some damaging winds moving through. There's going to be some toppled trees in this area based on what we're seeing here. Our system detecting 70+ mile per hour winds. This is pushing along County Road 12, Highway 17. There's the Owens area. I heard Lauren mention Owens a few moments ago in Stansel, and you can see those areas. That's along Highway 17, and there is Reform. Coal Fire is going to be north of here, or actually McShann is going to be just to the, well, there's Coal Fire just to the north. So this is passing south of there. So this is south of Coal Fire moving towards Reform. This is State Highway 82 here at the top of the screen, and again, this is about to cross across Highway 17, and likely, again, this is one of our proprietary products here. When we get another update of all of our data here, we'll likely see this will be crossing right here around Pearson Road once we get an update. There's the live data that Lauren's bringing in, and this is where that circulation is located. And once again, it's not just an isolated couplet. It's a lot like what we saw last weekend, where we see these elongated areas where we have these lines of storms and a little swirl in there trying to develop. And many times, you know, with this, a lot of times we'll see severe thunderstorm warnings, but sometimes these severe storms can produce damage similar to a low-end tornado. So even if you do it tonight, for the rest of the night, do notice a severe thunderstorm warning, you need to treat that like it's a low-end tornado, because that's what we saw a lot of last week. We had along the line, we had these little areas, these wintertime, what we call QLCS kind of setups here. But what we're tracking is that's a debris signature showing up, and that is right around Pearson Road. So what this is telling us, it's kind of like having a virtual spotter. You can see debris has been lofted. The radar can actually go in the dual pol data and tell us that, hey, we don't have rain here. We probably have, it could be leaves, could be pieces of tree limbs and pieces of trees, debris that's been lofted way up into the atmosphere. But the forecast, the radar is telling us that we do have a possible either tornado or some straight line winds that's kicked up some debris, and that is showing up at this time. So these are some intense winds right now that are moving towards Herbert Wendell Road, County Road 12. There's Highway 17, the Owens community once again. So we're approaching 9 o'clock here. I want to sort of reset the scene. If we can go to the big view, show you the radar. Chief Meteorologist Wes White along with Meteorologist Lauren Linehan, and we would be starting the news right now, but we're on with continuing coverage for a tornado warning that is for Pickens County. And you can see it's been one troublemaker along that line, that one storm right there. It actually produced a confirmed tornado. Mostly a lot of rain that we're seeing, but area-wide, we called a first alert weather day not only for this risk of possible tornado to the west or severe storm, but also for gusty winds. And we're going to have some very strong winds because we're actually warming up right now. Temperatures are rising into the 60s, starting to see some of that rain around Birmingham. Once this line passes, though, temperatures fall. And tomorrow morning, when you step outside, we're going to have wind chills in the teens. Temperatures near freezing through most of the day tomorrow, and the possibility of snow flurries, even a few snow showers over the state tomorrow. So that's the kind of cold, that wintry blast, a significant winter storm happening right now in states north of Alabama, and we're going to start to feel that cold air for tomorrow. Some big changes on the way. But the warning does continue right now until 9:45, and still, Lauren, from some of the data you were looking at and pulling up a few moments ago, still some strong indications here that we have some damaging winds.
Yeah, Wes, even though the rotation is a little bit more broad than it had been initially, we are looking at some very dangerous winds within inside of this storm. So that tornado warning is continuing until 9:45 p.m. Central Time. So if you are in Pickens County, you need to be in that safe place. In Wes, it has actually now been confirmed that this is a tornado on the ground, because we did see a radar, a debris signature.
Hey, let's go back to the camera, Lauren, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but if you want to pull this up, Ian, if we can go back to links 2. There you go. And I'll just step aside, and Lauren, you continue there. I just want folks to see at home what we're witnessing. I mean, this is where that tornado would be located right now in Reform. This is live.
Yeah, so you can see, Wes, right now, as far as where that tornado debris signature is showing up on radar, where you're seeing the little orange color here, that purple you're seeing is just a polygon that confirms, hey, in this area we have a confirmed tornado warning. So right now the tornado is passing along County Road 12, and it's pushing to the east-northeast. So next in line for this are areas like Owens and Stansel. If you live along Highway 17, go to your safe place in that interior room away from windows, because we do have a confirmed tornado on the ground here. And you can also see that we have been looking at the Reform camera, as Wes has been showing, and this is that same storm. This is that same storm, actually, that is producing the tornado. So it's still to the southwest of Reform, but if you are in Reform, Lathrop, Bell, along Highway 82, you need to be in your safe place as well. So this is pushing to the east-northeast. We'll get a closer view here of some of the roads that are in the path of this tornado. Herbert Wendell Road, just to the west of Stansel, and right along, it looks like, that may say, let me see, some of the fonts can be, let's see, Fulgham Bottom Road. Yes, zooming in really close there, you can get a good idea. If you are in Stancil, this tornado warned storm is moving through where you are right now. So you want to be in that safe spot. If you have any friends or family who live over in Pickens County, you need to make sure that you give them a call. Be the hero. Let them know that we do have a tornado on the ground that is pushing to the east-northeast. So we're at 9 o'clock here, and this tornado warning is still in effect through 9:45 Central Time. It is moving pretty quickly, but the places that are next in line here are going to be, it's moving through Stancil right now and potentially Owens, but Bell and Lathrop. So if you live anywhere along 2nd Street Southwest near Reform, along Highway 82, make sure you are in your safe area, because we have a confirmed tornado where you're seeing the orange showing up here on radar. That is a debris signature. That indicates that this rotation has touched down on the ground. So we have a tornado because it has to be on the ground in order for it to be a tornado. But what it's doing is, as it's moving to the east-northeast, it's beginning to loft debris within the circulation. So we're talking potentially tree limbs, but we're just keeping a close eye on this. And right now, Wes, it looks like that TDS, looking from our friends from the National Weather Service, saying this is going about 4,300 feet up.
Yeah, that is a tornado debris signature. So we're seeing it right now. This is radar confirmed tornado in Pickens County, according to radar. Or, you know, the Weather Service will go out and survey this, but what we call a TDS, tornado debris signature, but seeing some verification there, according to the National Weather Service, Lauren. So what we want to do is bring the big picture up once again. Want to go in, take a look at the radar data, walk through this, show you where exactly this is located. And this storm is tracking to the north and east at about 60 miles per hour. It's the only active tornado warning that you can see along that line that's over Pickens County, that's now approaching Tuscaloosa County. And to the north, it's mostly a lot of rain, but you are going to experience some very gusty winds for areas there in Coleman County and also into Winston County, and then south into Pickens County. And if you're listening in the back, let's take this full screen. I want to make sure folks can see some of the roads and some of the towns. And there we go. So you can see here, I want to make sure you can get a good picture of the radar. Lauren's got this thing zoomed out so you can see all across the area right now. No storms, no rain for East Alabama, but later on tonight, I do think once this reaches East Alabama, this line's going to be even weaker, much weaker, and it should start to lessen in intensity as it moves to the east. But this is just another reminder that even when we have even the slightest, most marginal risk for severe weather, there's always a possibility sometimes with a system like this. I mean, again, we're going from 60s tonight to temperatures near freezing all day tomorrow. And listen, tomorrow night we're in the 20s. On Tuesday, we barely rise above freezing, and we're back in the 20s Tuesday night. So we're only talking about a handful of hours here where we're going to actually rise above freezing over the next 2 days. So some extremely cold weather, freezing conditions about to set in here over the next couple days. I'm just kind of watching that camera, Lauren, and it is absolutely pouring right now in Reform. If we did have a tornado, and I know we're on Clear Channel stations like 98 TXT, 94 ZBQ here in West Alabama. If you're out on the road, if you're out on Highway 82, if you're around Gordo, Reform, you're listening to our severe weather coverage. Not a good time to be on the road with this very heavy rain that's moving through and gusty winds, but also for storm spotters out there, very dangerous stuff trying to spot a tornado in this, almost impossible because we do have some gusty winds. But a nice view here, kind of removing all the information. Lauren was showing you some of the roads here. This is Highway 159. This is north of Gordo. So if you're in those areas along Highway 159, you're also under the confirmed tornado warning. We need you in your tornado shelter if your weather radio is going off. If you're in places like Moores Bridge, this is Highway 171 in Tuscaloosa County. That's the Sipsey River right there, Sipsey River Valley. In all those areas, if you can hear me right now, be on standby in case we have this warning expanded into Tuscaloosa County. This storm started in Mississippi. We saw a debris signature, and it just continues to show some rotation. Now, model data has been telling us that as the night goes on, we're going to see the greatest risk for tornadoes drop even further south and more into the southwest part of the coverage area. So hopefully this becomes less severe, a bit more, well, not necessarily elevated, but hopefully we see this more of a linear setup here as it moves on to the east and not showing the strong rotation. But if you're in Carrollton, the worst has passed. So I'm sounding the all clear for Carrollton, although we still have some gusty winds and some heavy rain, still an impactful system system out there, but the risk for a tornado, you can see that has passed. If we do have a tornado in this at the moment, possibly here between Reform and the Bell area, looks like that's going to pass, Lauren, where that circulation was, maybe just north of Gordo. You can see the rotation's not as strong as what we were seeing a few moments ago. However, all along that line, we're probably going to see some winds 40, 50 miles per hour as this approaches Highway 159. Here's Highway 86 just before you go into Gordo. That's the turn there, takes you out to Carrollton, but that's Highway 86, Highway 159. This is State Highway 82. Places like Coker and Lake Lurleen, that's back behind me. So this is all to the west of us. Now, will this still be producing this kind of wind? Possible tornado warning as this moves into Tuscaloosa County. We just need to watch a few more scans here, but the forecast data has been telling us the further east this goes, it should lessen in intensity. So let's see if this behaves, and you know, that's just forecast model, so we do have to watch this, do some real-time analysis on this. There's the city of Tuscaloosa, University of Alabama campus. Here's Highway 43 north, Lake Tuscaloosa area. This is still well to the west of you. So Tuscaloosa, we're watching it. It's back in here to the west. It's right now impacting Gordo to Reform, places like McShann. I mentioned Coal Fire is to the north here, so actually Coal Fire and the McShann area, most of this has been to the south, but Carrollton, right now we have more of a westerly wind. Lauren, it looks like the gust front has passed. So once this area here where you see the red to green, once that passes where you are, that means that the wind shift has happened, and now we're seeing the more intense part of this pushing to the east of where you're located. But that's approaching Gordo right now, and I'm noticing the winds have actually backed off. We've got the live camera we've been monitoring from Reform, and you can clearly tell this is all looking a bit more uniform here. So the rotation has broadened quite a bit. So it's 9:10. We're coming up the 9:45. Okay, so the Weather Service are saying they do not plan to extend the tornado warning into Tuscaloosa County. And as we have noted right here, the Weather Service also noting that the tornado looks to have dissipated at this time. And again, there's a lot of change in wind direction, as you can clearly see there, Lauren, along that line. So something we've got to watch in case all of a sudden, you know, we start to see some rotation. But hopefully from this point, this line is going to start to behave. But there's some gusty winds out there. Again, we're still under the warning in Gordo. Let's stand by here in case this thing decides to produce a tornado again. But we did have that debris signature earlier, and it looks like sometimes these will cycle through. You know, they go through life cycles. We'll see a beginning and sort of what we call the tornado stage. Look at what Lauren's plotting on here, these wind gusts out there. Wind speeds in general, as we talked about. We've got a very dynamic system. Again, big winter storm across the country. Look at these winds gusting over 30 miles per hour. Do we have any power outage reports too? We'll check that out, because we've been seeing these winds, and one of the concerns that we had, well, a few outages. Look at all these power outages. Look at this over into Mississippi. Now keep in mind tomorrow, hopefully these folks have power back very soon, because it's about to get extremely cold out there for tomorrow. And to the north, we're seeing winter storm warnings not far from Tennessee. Look at all this. This has been quite a winter storm here. Blizzard conditions from Kansas all the way, winter storm conditions all the way to D.C. So if you have work week plans, maybe catching a flight tomorrow, certainly check ahead, because look at all this. This is snow, and that extends all the way across the Ohio Valley, all the way back into Kansas. So once this line passes tonight, and that cold air comes in from the north, and all the snow and ice is on the ground, that's going to have an impact on our temperatures. It's going to keep those readings very low. So all that cold air we've been telling you about for a couple of weeks, here it comes tomorrow. Be ready for freezing conditions for a prolonged period of time. So Lauren, have we, what are we looking at here? Is this future radar, or has the warning expired?
Well, that's a good question. Yes, the
Okay.
tornado warning just got canceled. Good eye. But we're still watching, especially in West Alabama West, because we do have that kind of thin corridor of more unstable air. That's in far West Alabama. We don't want to totally discount that we could maybe see another potential little spin-up tornado along the line. I see our friends at the National Weather Service. They're actually indicating that we need to keep a close eye on Fayette County. So if you're in Fayette County, just know we are watching things closely for you. Let's get that better radar view from the Columbus radar site. And we actually have our storm tracker out and about tonight. We've got Brady Talbert in the storm tracker along with one of our photojournalists, Shane Trail, and they are headed to West Alabama to check out if there's been any damage around Pickens County. So we'll definitely keep a close eye on things. And Wes, I think we can actually check in with them. If
let's do that. Let's check in with the First Alert Storm Tracker, and if they've been listening. Hey, Brady, we can see you now. Checking in with you. I know that line has been pushing through Pickens County, and from the camera view, it looks like it's been quite intense around the Reform area. Where are you located? And tell us what you're seeing now.
Hey Wes, yeah, we're currently leaving the Tuscaloosa area and we're headed towards Stansel. We're having a little feedback right here in my ear, so I'm going to go ahead and take this out so you can hear me a little bit better. But we're currently headed towards Stansel. We're about 30 minutes out right now. And it sounds like the main plot of tonight has been this quickly changing weather pattern. And we've definitely seen that here on the roads. We've seen gusty wind. We've also seen a lot of rain, and then instantly it'll stop, and then it'll come back. So that seems to be the plot of tonight. Again, we are headed towards that area where we've already seen a confirmed tornado on the ground. So once we arrive there, we're definitely going to check in with you guys to see if we see any of that damage you guys were talking about. But right now we're headed that way, and we'll let you know what we find.
All right, Brady, and listen, you guys be careful. Some very heavy rain out there. I know you guys are in the storm tracker, and let us know if you do find any areas. That was one thing, after last weekend, we had a lot of reports and ground truth, and the Weather Service, we were able to relay some information. They were able to go out and investigate and say, hey, this was a tornado in some of those locations, but gusty winds. And we also have, Lauren, I believe, some updated numbers with respect to some of those power outages that we were seeing across West Alabama. And keep in mind, I know I've mentioned this time and time again, if you do live in an area that is prone to outages, just anytime the wind blows, just make sure you double check those backup heat sources, because we do have some very, very cold air that's going to be rolling in here for tomorrow. But we'll get to that. We actually have that data we can show you here coming up. We're monitoring not only outages, but also those gusty winds coming across the state. Lauren, I know you will be back with some updates on the forecast.
Yeah, that's right. And I see on the screen it says we have a tornado warning in Pickens County. That is actually over with. So if you're in Pickens County, there is no longer a tornado warning in effect, but there's still not a tornado watch either. The threat is just not widespread enough right now to warrant a tornado watch. So at any point, if we can get that off the screen, that would be helpful. But we are going to be keeping an eye on the potential for this cell that is embedded within this main line as it moves through areas like Fayette. We had been seeing some rotation on it, but now it looks like that's kind of faded away a little bit. But then you see more little areas of rotation where the red is popping up here. You can see this moving into Tuscaloosa County and up in Fayette County, where we see these little areas of red. That could indicate there could be some strong winds along the line as it's pushing through. So that's something we're going to be watching pretty closely here. And of course, we look at our velocity products to see if we notice any areas where there could maybe be some rotation, like up here around Pea Ridge. It looks like higher up in the atmosphere there could be some broad rotation aloft where you're seeing that almost gray-green color showing up near Pea Ridge. But as of right now, nothing really standing out. But we're talking about this low-end severe threat for West Alabama tonight. As Wes was mentioning, as this moves eastward, the line is just going to continue to weaken. A lot of us, if you notice, unless you're in West Alabama, it still feels pretty cool outside. So the air is very stable, and that is helping to limit the severe threat elsewhere. But there is that little narrow corridor where we're seeing temperatures just a little bit warmer than everywhere else, that you have that possibility for maybe a brief spin-up tornado, and that's what we're seeing here in West Alabama.
Wow. Look at those temperatures.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone from near freezing earlier today to temperatures in the 60s tonight, and tomorrow morning we'll be in the near freezing range out the door early in the day. So listen, this weather, it is changing quickly. A lot that we are tracking. Just got a report in from our weather watcher in Hamilton. 56 degrees. The wind has shifted, so now the colder air starting to reach our far northwestern areas there in Marion County. Nearly 2 inches of rain so far. That happened in a hurry. Again, there for Marion County, and only max wind gusts of 18 miles per hour. So hopefully for most areas, these winds will behave out there tonight. But typically with a system like this, when you go from 60s to 30s in the morning, there's a lot of temperature change that impacts air pressure, that impacts wind speed. So that's why we have these strong gradient winds. Listen, Lauren, I'm going to let you come back. I know you got a lot of forecast information, the full 7-day forecast. That's all coming up right here. We're going to continue closely monitoring the weather situation, but we're going to break away from continuous coverage right now and begin our news at 9 p.m.